now from the Mayor of Greater Manchester, Andy Burnham, who joins me in studio. Very good morning to you.
Good morning.
Thanks for joining us. I mean, a good candidate, Bridget Phillipson?
There's lots of good candidates coming forward. I'm pleased to see it because there needs to be a debate, not about the government and everything it's doing, because I don't think that would be right, you know, running commentary on the new ministerial team, and I wish them all well and here to support them. I think the debate should go in this contest towards
Starmer's Manchester problem, the Burnham threat. Before we dive into what could be the most significant threat to Keir Starmer's leadership since he walked through the doors of Number 10, do yourself a favour and smash that subscribe button. Because what I'm about to tell you is a kind of Westminster drama that unfolds in real time, and you'll want front row seats for what comes next. Keir Starmer has a problem, and that problem has a name, a power base, and increasingly vocal support from his own MPs. Andy Burnham isn't just any regional mayor making noise from the sidelines. He's a political heavyweight with serious Westminster credentials, genuine popularity, and what appears to be a growing appetite for the top job that Starmer currently occupies. And right now, that should terrify everyone in Downing Street. Let's cut straight to the chase, shall we? When the mayor of Greater Manchester starts getting unsolicited phone calls from Labour MPs during the summer recess, when polling consistently shows him outperforming the Prime Minister, when backbenchers are openly discussing his potential leadership credentials, that's not political gossip. That's the sound of a leadership challenge being born. Burnham has been playing this game with the precision of a master chess player. Asked directly about challenging Starmer, his response has been diplomatically devastating. That for other people in Westminster to make a decision about. It's the kind of non-denial denial that keeps political journalists awake at night and presumably gives Starmer's advisers heartburn. He's not saying no, he's not saying yes, but is certainly not closing any doors. And why would he? The man has form when it comes to Labour leadership contests. He ran in 2010, finishing fourth. He tried again in 2015, coming second to Jeremy Corbyn. This isn't someone who's shy about throwing his hat in the ring when the opportunity arises. When the Telegraph asked if he still harbored leadership ambitions, Burnham was refreshingly candid. I ran twice to be the head of the Labour Party, and I believe that tells you, doesn't it? But here's what makes this different from your typical political positioning. Burnham isn't some ambitious backbencher looking for a career boost. He's built something genuinely impressive in Greater Manchester, proven that Labour politics can work outside the Westminster bubble, and crucially, maintained his popularity while doing it. That gives him a legitimacy and a power base that exists entirely independent of Starmer's approval. The policy platform Burnham has been developing reads like a direct challenge to everything Starmer represents. We're talking about raising council tax on expensive properties, a wealth tax with actual teeth, building council houses at scale, because apparently someone needs to remember that ordinary people deserve somewhere affordable to live, lowering income tax for the low-paid while cranking it up for high earners. This isn't moderate centrism. This is Labour politics with the gloves off. More damning still is Burnham's assessment of what Starmer has done to the Labour Party. His talking about a climate of fear among MPs, alienation and demoralisation within the ranks. These aren't casual observations from someone on the outside looking in. These are carefully chosen words from a former cabinet minister who knows exactly how devastating such language can be. When you start accusing a sitting prime minister of creating fear and demoralisation within his own party, you're not offering constructive criticism. You're preparing the ground for regime change. The mechanics of what would need to happen for Burnham to mount a challenge are fascinating precisely because they are not impossible. He'd need to resign as mayor of Greater Manchester, walking away from a position where he's genuinely effective and popular. He'd have to secure a Westminster seat, most likely through a by-election that would itself become a national political story. And then he'd need nominations from at least 80 Labour MPs. That last requirement is where things get really interesting, because the whispers from Westminster suggest it might not be the insurmountable barrier it appears to be. One backbencher was admirably blunt when speaking to the Telegraph. Burnham would have a caucus of support if he ran. Another was even more direct. Andy's got to come out if it's going to go. He needs to stop messing about and tell the Labour Party that the current bloke isn't up to it. Read that again. The current bloke isn't up to it. That's how some Labour MPs are privately talking about their own Prime Minister. Not with the usual diplomatic language about different approaches or varying perspectives, but with brutal honesty about competence and capability. That kind of assessment doesn't develop overnight. It's the product of months of growing frustration and diminishing confidence. The timing couldn't be more politically explosive. With local elections looming in May, every political move is magnified, every statement analyzed for hidden meaning. Burnham's refusal to rule out a leadership bid isn't just keeping his options open, it's psychological warfare. Every day that Starmer has to field questions about party unity and leadership confidence is a day he's not setting the political agenda from a position of strength. And the polling makes for grim reading if you're Team Starmer. Burnham consistently outperforms the Prime Minister in popularity stakes, not just among the general public, but among Labour members themselves. That's not just embarrassing, it's potentially fatal. When your own party membership consistently prefers someone who isn't even in Parliament to the person they helped put in Downing Street, you've got a credibility crisis that can't be spun away. Burnham has been clever about how he's positioned himself throughout this saga. He's not actively campaigning against Starmer, but is certainly not supporting him either. He's developing alternative policies, building relationships with disgruntled MPs, and maintaining a public profile that keeps him relevant to national political conversations. It's political positioning at its most sophisticated. The historical precedent should worry Starmer's team. Successful leadership challenges rarely come from nowhere. They're usually the culmination of months or years of growing dissatisfaction, of a slow erosion of confidence that eventually reaches a tipping point. The fact that MPs are actively courting Burnham, the fact that it's developing alternative policy positions, the fact that it's consistently outpolling the sitting Prime Minister, these are all warning signs that should have Downing Street taking this threat very seriously indeed. From Burnham's perspective, the calculus is intriguing. He's 54 years old. He's got serious political experience. He's proven he can win elections and govern effectively. If he's ever going to make another run at the Labour leadership, the window is closing. Politics is ultimately about timing, and the confluence of Starmer's struggles, his own popularity, and growing MP discontent might represent the best opportunity he'll ever get. The broader implications for the Labour Party are staggering to contemplate. A leadership challenge wouldn't just be about replacing Starmer. It would be about fundamentally redefining what the party stands for in government. Burnham represents a vision of Labour that prioritizes economic justice over electoral calculation, that isn't afraid to take on wealth and privilege, that remembers the party is supposed to be on the side of ordinary working people. What makes this particularly fascinating is that unlike previous Labour leadership dramas, this one is potentially playing out while the party is actually in government. Usually, these internecine battles happen in opposition, where the stakes feel manageable and the damage can be contained. But when you're trying to govern the country while simultaneously watching your own MPs shop around for alternatives to your leadership, the potential for chaos multiplies exponentially. The Conservative opposition must be watching this unfold with barely concealed delight. Nothing helps an opposition party quite like watching the government tear itself apart from within. Every day that Labour spends talking about leadership challenges instead of government policy is a day the Tories don't have to defend their own record or articulate their own vision for the country. But perhaps the most intriguing aspect of this whole saga is what it reveals about the changing nature of political power in Britain. Burnham's position as Mayor of Greater Manchester gives him a platform and legitimacy that exists entirely outside traditional Westminster power structures. It has shown that you can be politically relevant, genuinely influential, and consistently popular while operating beyond the reach of party whips and Downing Street control. That's genuinely revolutionary in British politics. Historically, political careers flowed one way, from local politics to Westminster, with success measured by proximity to power in SW1. But Burnham has demonstrated a different model, one where regional leadership can rival national politics in terms of influence and effectiveness. It's a template that other ambitious politicians will surely be studying carefully. The question that's keeping political journalists up at night and presumably giving Starmer's team nightmares is simple. Will Andy Burnham actually make his move? The conventional wisdom says probably not. The barriers are high, the risks are enormous, and challenging a sitting Prime Minister from your own party remains a kind of career-ending gamble that most politicians aren't willing to take. But Burnham isn't most politicians. He's already taken significant risks, already walked away from Westminster once, already shown he's willing to bet on his own convictions rather than play it safe. And the current political environment, with Starmer struggling and Labour MPs openly discussing alternatives, might represent the kind of opportunity that doesn't come around twice. The smart money might still be on Burnham staying put, continuing to build his northern power base while keeping his Westminster options open for the future. But in an era where political surprises have become routine, where the unthinkable regularly becomes inevitable, betting against Andy Burnham might not be the safest wager. Right now, he's got Keir Starmer looking over his shoulder, and in politics, that's already a kind of victory. So there you have it, the most compelling political drama currently playing out in British politics, featuring a sitting Prime Minister under pressure from within his own party and a mayor with Westminster dreams who just might have the credibility to make those dreams reality. Whether Burnham makes his move or not, the very possibility has already changed the political landscape in ways that will echo for years to come. That's why you need to stay subscribed to UK Connors and hit that notification bell, because when the next chapter of this story breaks, you'll want to be among the first to know. In British politics, the most explosive developments always happen when you least expect them.